Become a tradition in cities across the country and around the world, people taking to their balconies or their stoops in the streets to cheer for frontline workers. And that category, frontline workers, is new in this COVID era. It's like first responders, a term that emerged after 9/11. And frontline workers usually makes us think, of course, of doctors and nurses, and also grocery store workers or people who work in warehouses or drive trucks or work in nursing homes. But of course, there are many more people keeping our hospitals running throughout this crisis besides doctors and nurses. And those workers, who are generally much more poorly compensated, are just as exposed to risk. An often invisible army of employees, as the New York Times puts it, who have put their lives on the line. Like Priscilla Caro, who worked in the materials management department of Elmhurst Hospital in Queens, handing out all the protective gear for the facility, including masks and gloves, and keeping track of that inventory. She had planned on retiring at the end of the year. Despite working in the hospital's sub-basement away from patients, Priscilla Caro contracted the coronavirus and died on March 30th at the age of 65. Adiel Montgomery was a security guard in the emergency department at Kingsbrook Jewish Medical Center in Brooklyn. And back in March, he spoke out about the lack of protective gear that he and his colleagues received and was successful in convincing the hospital to provide them with more PPE. But by the end of the month, Adiel came down with coronavirus symptoms, and he died in the hospital where he worked on April 5th. Adiel Montgomery was just 39 years old. And 56-year-old Gary Washington worked in housekeeping at the New York Presbyterian Allen Hospital in Manhattan, where he cleaned the rooms of coronavirus patients after they were discharged. His wife says he kept going to work after many others called out sick because he wanted to take care of his family. Gary Washington died on April 8th, the day before his wedding anniversary. So we are, I think, rightly cheering for these people every night, as we should. Brands are cutting ads about them and their service, but they deserve hazard pay. It's outrageous they don't have it. There are proposals for hazard pay for these kinds of workers exposed to risk that are in Congress right now, and there is more that we can do for all frontline workers than just clap for them.
I admit